Today's video, we're going to talk about adding SMS call to actions on your landing page and how that can increase the conversion 25% that you're getting right now by doing nothing. And when I say nothing, I mean the actual number you have on your website for people to text you to respond instead of calling, instead of filling out the form. You can go back and forth with this user using AI now to automatically set an appointment. So you get more appointments than you would get otherwise, not having that text message option, and also without having the AI respond to the text messages, since you can respond right away once you have the AI working for you on your behalf. Now, I know what you're saying. Corey, I don't want to use AI to respond to my leads. And you don't have to, because you can actually just use the AI to respond to your leads that want to text you when you can't otherwise respond, after hours or what have you. So you can choose to set this up however you want. Ultimately though, you should be asking people to text you because you're going to get more leads this way, and how you handle it after that, that's up to you. The AI systems now to handle back and forth in terms of text messages, responding to text messages, automatically setting up appointments for you on your behalf. It's getting so good now. For the most part, it's going to be as good as what you can do on your own anywhere, or at least a employee who doesn't give a damn whether you actually make another dime in your business or not. Maybe you have a really good salesperson answering that's paid on commission only, then you'd want them to just answer all the leads. But if it's just an average secretary or something like that, you'd be better off just simply having the AI handle it. Trust me on that. We've seen this many times in our firm. You don't actually want regular old Joes answering these leads. AI is going to do a better job for you. At least text messages and phone calls are actually, it's getting to the point where even phone calls are handled better by AI. And I'm going to talk a bit about that on this video as well. But with that said, I'm going to have also a few case studies that is going to go over just how much this methodology will increase that you're able to make on your campaigns in a variety of different markets, so you can kind of see where you would fit in with your business. So 25% increase in sales is something that's absolutely achievable. Whether you get it or not, it depends on what market you're actually in. So I'll go over those numbers as well. Stay to the end of the video for that. So for that matter, okay, your landing page, the way that you get, first of all, people to text message you or SMS message you, so you get this going for your business, so you get more response out of the ad traffic you have that you're driving to your landing pages, is number one, you have the phone number up top of your website, and you have that phone number callable or textable. And then on top of that, you have next to the phone number something that says call or text us. Because normally what they're going to do, naturally, is they're going to go look for the phone number, but then they're going to see, oh, wait, I can text. And you may say, well, they were going to call anyway. Well, yes and no, because some of the people are going to see the phone number and they're going to go write it down because they can't actually call right away. Or they're going to wait for their husband or wife or whatever to call. There's different reasons for this. Also, some people are just going to have last minute second thoughts. When the person could just text right away and then know that they can respond to it on their timeline, you know, when they have a break at work, you know, there's in a situation, there's someone trying to mention something to them, but they don't really aren't interested in the conversation, and they're kind of ignoring them, but can't call right then and there. There's a lot of different reasons why, of course, people will not want to call right away and they'd rather text if you give them the option to text instead. Bottom line, 5% of the people that you have that are calling you now, what we found would text just by having this simple thing here. It'll again vary by market. It could be anywhere from 1% to 10%. But just know that mentioning that simple phrase there will get a bunch of people to text you. And that extra texting that you get is going to be in addition to the phone calls that you get. So if you're doing 100 calls a month now, expect 100 calls plus 95 calls plus, let's say, 10 more texts. So you have 5% more overall leads from text and phone calls than you had before. If that makes sense. Then you should have a dedicated spot on your landing page for text messages and a call to action to text you. For what I found works the best for our clients is to say text for an immediate quote, day or night. and then the phone number. And then also, if you want to add a bit more, send a photo. So if you're doing something that's visual, like drywall repair, send a picture of your drywall and we'll give you an instant quote. Or send us a picture of your tattoo that you need removed and we'll give you an instant quote. Why? Because it's an engagement device. People they think that's kind of cool and they want to see how this works. Bottom line, the day or night thing makes it so that somebody that's can't call, they realize that they could text and they're going to like it. And then also, like I mentioned before, they're going to text often after hours knowing that they want to respond by phone. This is just a good intermediary in the meantime. You know, naturally knowing that they'll respond in the morning and then they can just go text back and forth and they'll remember the number. And it's just a way to essentially write the number down and remember it without having to literally save it in their contacts. So, but you may say, well, Corey, I cannot offer an immediate quote through text message itself. I need to call them or whatever. The point is that they just respond. Once you get them to respond, you can take them on the phone. Ultimately, if they wanted everything through text, you say, I can't give them a quote through text. I got to go out to their location. I got to see their situation, whatever. In that situation, it doesn't matter because once they text, you have their information to sell to them. Bottom line. So what you do through text after they text you is you say, hey, look, John, your situation sounds interesting. You know, of course, asking them about like, what is your situation? Your situation looks interesting. I need to come out and do that. When can we do that, John? So it is a bait and switch in the literal sense, but I can promise you, if you don't say text for an immediate quote, very few people are going to text you because ultimately there's no reason to text you. Just say text us. Ultimately, I mean, a few people would text and be like, oh, that's nice, I can text. But as they're scrolling down the landing page, they get to that section. There's nothing that's going to stop them in their tracks there without that, to get them a text right then and there without that. Get an immediate quote day or night says, oh, okay, great. Why don't I text them right now? So you can do it your way. But if you do it the way that I'm saying here, you could get 10% more leads that'll text you. So if you're getting 100 calls a month now / form fills, you'll get 110. The extra 10% will just be having this section executed right on your landing page. So you're talking about an overall increase here of leads of 15% on average. 25% increase in leads are possible. 15% are very probable. Okay? Now, that said, the reason why with our clients, the main reason why they don't want text messages is because they don't have defined systems to handle a text message. They've got their sales teams are good at handling phone calls or whatever, form fills, but not text messages. So the easiest way with text messages to handle those is to have a software dashboard and app where you can respond to the leads. Of course, you can do this with CallRail itself, and through their lead center, you can have a log of every text message lead that you got and the conversation that's shareable to every other person that's in your organization. That's one way to do it. And then there's, of course, other software besides CallRail, TextMagic being one that you can manage text conversations. But you can avoid all that and just immediately have an AI take over and respond to your text message leads for you on your behalf. And it's damn good at it. The one that 100% that I would recommend that I've tried and used frequently here is Conversational AI. And that'll handle the back and forth with the person that, of course, that has sent a text message. So for that matter, this person texts for an immediate quote, then the text message bot, if you will, AI, will take over the conversation from there. With the goal being that they're going to set an appointment, like I said. And they're not going to be able to necessarily give a quote over the phone. That's not the point. The point was to get them to call, then say you have to go out to their place to give them a quote. But you now got them to take that baby step forward, and now you have a higher amount of leads as a result and sales as a result. I don't recommend having the AI take over the sales conversation if a human can take over the conversation once they respond to the phone number you have designated for text messages. It's there when a human can't respond right away. So if you can, two things here. One, if you can respond within 5 minutes, never use AI. And that's at all times. If you can't respond in 5 minutes, the AI should take over the conversation itself And certainly if you can't respond at all because it's after hours, the AI should take over the conversation as well. So ultimately, and obviously you can change this at any given time. You could have set your systems up with conversational AI software, which is the name of the software, to where you have a human take over the conversation during certain hours of the day, certain days of the week, and change it on the fly. Like if it's the holidays, things are changing, then you let the AI take it over the holiday. That's up to you. But really it's a backup. And that's what AI is great at doing now, is to take the leads you're getting when you can't respond within 5 minutes, to respond within 5 minutes each time, essentially forcing it and getting you the appointment, given that the text messages are not going to be able to tell it's an AI. Okay. At least for a good chunk of the business out there. I want to say half of the campaigns that you would run, at least, the AI is going to do just as good, almost, of a job as a human, what the human is going to do. Why? Because the AI is so advanced now. Conversational AI, they're going to help train your AI so it is that good. And if you want some samples, by the way, of what it sounds like, if you leave me a comment in the comment section, I will give you a couple numbers that you can text, and you can see just how good the AI is. I mean, if you think about it though, for most practical purposes, for an HVAC company, for even a lawyer, how technical does the conversation actually get when somebody calls you even nowadays or emails you? It pretty much is, do you do XYZ? Yes, okay, I would like to set an appointment. Of course an AI can handle that fine, so why would you not do it? At the very least, if a human can't respond to the lead right away, why wouldn't you want the AI to just do it? You may worry that, hey, they might burn my bridges with this person and they'll realize it's an AI and therefore we're a company that's out of touch. And you could say that, which is why I would say in your market, you just have to determine how much personal touch you think people have. And that is, do people often need to ask several questions before setting an appointment? And if they do, let a human take it over and that's it. Unless you can't answer the lead at all, then you use AI as a backup last-ditch resort. Otherwise, if you typically have no questions or maybe one or two simple questions, let the AI take it over, because the AI bot can be trained to answer those questions really easily. To the point where, realistically, if all the, and usually, this is why I say half of businesses or more can use AI for this, and half or more of the businesses, there's going to be 50 or less questions that 90% of people ask. And the AI software that's all you got to do is just answer those 50 questions for the software. The software is going to pick it up, and then it's going to understand which of the 50 questions they ask and spit out the answer, and that's it. Some businesses, it's going to be like, the questions are too diverse that the AI just is not going to be able to handle those questions, and it's not going to set an appointment at a high rate for you, and you would want the humans to take over. But like I said, the human takes over, and ultimately, if somebody texts and then that you don't respond for 8 hours, the AI is typically going to convert better within 5 minutes while that person's attention is still on the task at hand than the good person, but 8 hours later, which is why you use this and why you don't use it when the human can respond right away. Because the human technically, at least at this stage, is a little bit better than the AI. It's just the AI responds sooner, so therefore has a massive advantage because of that alone. How quickly you respond to leads matters so much in terms of how much sales you're going to get per lead in your business, to the point where just responding within 5 minutes versus responding in 8 hours on average, you can get 2 times to 3 times as much sales in that situation. If you're in a more commoditized market where you're not a specialist, that you don't really have much competition, because people, they're going to text you, they're going to forget about what they did, and then by the time you eventually text them, they've moved on to something else. They're busy with something else. They're not going to respond anymore. So if you don't know that, now you at least know. But the cool thing is with the AI is it will literally book the appointment for you. So you can have your PPC campaign going, and you don't have to train your secretary to answer the phone anymore. You just get a calendar with the appointment on it. Your salesperson checks the calendar, and that's it. And you save having to hire a secretary altogether. Conversational AI, by the way, to do the text message responses is only $200 a month, which may sound like a lot, and it might be depending on how you view it, but it takes the place of a secretary. But more importantly, it's going to get you, you know, upwards of 25% more sales from the same amount of traffic you have coming to the site by doing this. Because you can ultimately, you know, of course, have a text message option. And instead of having to have the sales staff respond to these text messages and doing all this, the AI just takes over itself. So does it do as good as a human? No. Does it do 80% as good as a human? Yes, for the most part. Now, for that matter, more communication methods, just to kind of boil this down as well, what to get this through your noggin. More communication methods that you have on your landing page, the more leads that you get. With that said, you want to offer a phone number for people to call you on your landing pages. You want to offer a form for people that want to fill out a form and expect it or anticipating it when they got to your page. You want to offer people a text option. You want to also offer people a chat option, assuming that you can respond to the chats right away and not use a bot for them. Chatbots itself, at least right now, are not great at carrying a long conversation. They can handle the initial response. Why? Because people through chat usually want to have a long conversation. It's like, you know, it doesn't do that very well, at least at this stage. But you can use a chat bot to get them to initially respond, then a human takes over itself. Anyway, but just by having all four of these, you'll easily get 50% more leads than you would have had just phone number or phone number and form. Because there's certain people that prefer live chat. There's certain people that prefer texting, which is why you do all this. If you aren't making as much as you want right now, just offer more communication methods and learn how to manage them either through using AI or not. And you'll, of course, get more profit from your ads at the end of the day. This is about texting, of course. Now, before we get into the case studies here, real quick, if you, first of all, haven't subscribed to this channel, you know, what are you doing? Because I have the best information, that's the most relevant information you're going to find about making money with ads. You're going to find elsewhere, anywhere else online and on YouTube. Given that I'm an agency owner who manages dozens of accounts and just focuses on the strategy and the testing side of things at our agency, I got my finger on the pulse more than anybody else does. And I spend 40 hours a week doing it, whereas I spend another 40 hours a week doing the channel, which most people who have a channel, they don't actually manage ads because they don't want to work 80 hours a week. And it's a full-time job doing the channel in itself. So for that matter, if you want relevant, direct information straight from the source, you're going to get it from me on this channel, and it's the best information out there. So subscribe to the channel if you are serious at all about making millions of dollars a year running ads for your business. I've got a secondary resource on my site at guaranteedppc.com/blog, where you can find step-by-step instructions on how to use the methods that I use to literally guarantee our clients results at our advertising firm, of which you can find screenshots, literally everything that you need to use them. I've documented things there as well, because some people like to read. There's screenshots there, everything for you to use it. At the very least, if you like the channel and you find value in that already, then go ahead and check the blog out, because you'll like it just as much, if not even better. Also, by the way, got a Discord group. If you haven't been there yet, I'm in there answering questions. A bunch of guys in there from the channel are in there answering questions. You can find the link in the description. If you have any questions for me personally, you can always leave me a comment below. I get back to every single person who leaves me a question or comment on this channel, usually within 24 hours. You can also reach out to me through my site. You can ask me a one-off question there, but if you need a private conversation, want a consulting or coaching call, I do those as well. Of course, in addition to that, I offer full-on management services where I'll manage all your ads personally and make sure you get results. Otherwise, we will not take a management fee at all at our agency. No other agency does this. And that means we're going to make you at least $5,000 a month net profit left over after expenses before we charge our management fee. This is literally our core offer. Beyond that, I also have a template that should work for your market. That is, if we've worked in your market before in another city or country, we can sell you the winning ads, landing pages, campaign templates, all of it that work for your niche market. You copy paste those suckers into your ad account, and you'll just get the results that we did in your market without having to go through everything we did, figure out what works in your market. And so, whether you want to, pay us to just handle it all, or you start with the template, either or, you'll be way ahead of the game taking one or the other And at the very least, you should find out what results we got in your market before or a market like it, so you know what you're losing by not doing it. So if you're interested in that, let me know as well. With that said, getting into the case studies here. Now, what I've got here is a good mix of B2C, B2B in terms of lead generation and what texting itself can do for your business, okay? So first thing I'm going to go over here is a chiropractor that we worked with. That one, we had the most results out of the 3 here that I'm going to go over here that I was able to measure. We had a chiropractor who did exactly what I mentioned that you should do for your company. That is, call or text us next to the phone number, the top right of the site. Also, by the way, in the footer where the phone number is there, which you should always have both places, because some people look at the top of the page for the phone number. Some people look for it at the bottom. And if you make them look harder than they need to for something, it results in less conversions. But also, we had a dedicated section in the middle that says, text us what your problem is. So we had a little bit of a change up there. So you can get creative with this. What you're doing is you're figuring out how to get them to talk. And then say, if you send me a text, we'll respond with whatever you want. So that could be for your market, find out what the quote's going to be, but it could be you have a pain problem, find out what it takes to fix it. And, ultimately, AI is not great at this, but at least you got their information then, and you can take over the conversation from this, or just, let a human handle it all together. But we actually had an AI handling this, and it actually handled it real well. So without that much training, you have a back problem. Our doctor's great with back problems. It usually back problems are a result of X, Y, and Z. This is the type of thing AI would do. So anyway, 25% increase in actual sales per dollar spent on ads from Google Ads with this system in place, with the AI, with the human still also responding to text messages, at least during business hours itself. And then this was just after hours, okay? So we weren't even using AI the whole time when we got that kind of an increase. One of which we had a candy wholesaler. Okay, so somebody that sells candy to convenience stores, retail stores, whatever. In that situation, so that's a B2B, obviously. So I wanted to talk about that. Same situation, call or text us. And then also down here, call or text for an immediate quote and update on our stock of an item that you're interested in. So that was our call to action there, roughly speaking. In that market, we had 11% increase in actual sales per dollar of ad spend once we implemented text option in that case, of which, by the way, we didn't really rely on AI so much there because in a B2B context, it's hard to get the bot trained on answering kind of all the questions well. That said, if you were to use AI that would tap into inventory and all that like it should be, it would work well. We were trying to figure out how to do this. We weren't able to figure it out. And it was too complex and complicated. And for the most part, though, if you were a big enough organization, it would 100% be worth doing that. But even for like a smaller company, you can feed in, all your prices of every single service you offer, and the bot's going to be pretty good in terms of responding. Well, anyway, because of that, we only got 11% increase. I believe if the bot was trained properly, we would get 15% plus at least increases in profitability using text, leads, and responses. Now, also finally, restoration services company. This is a company that handles getting rid of, if you have a broken pipe, flood water that needs to be removed from the basement or whatever, / mold removal services / fire damage restoration services. If your house burns down, there's a fire in your house that needs to be repaired, this company specializes in fixing it. In that case, we had a 19% increase in profitability from our Google Ads campaign once we implemented the text options. And then in that case, it was text for an immediate response day or night. It wasn't a quote, because obviously it's hard to give a quote for that type of thing. That's simply what we did there. So for that matter, so you can see the difference in kind of the numbers market to market here. Oh, and then in the restoration services space, it was 100% AI. We literally had an AI handle all of it in that case. So depending on what you're doing, why not just get AI to answer all of it? That's mainly because we knew that the client couldn't respond within 5 minutes, even during business hours. So too busy, they didn't have the resources. So in that case, the AI just, like I said, it's 80% as good as a human nowadays. for at least that's not something that's not too complicated, you should just go with that. That'd be your case. So, but as you see, different results, in different situations, different markets, different uses of how you're asking them to text you in the first place, and then whether we're using AI or not to answer the text messages. So that is what I would tell you in regards to using text messages to respond to leads and to get people to, respond to you in general. That is using text messages for your business and a call to action on your landing page to get people to text you or SMS you. Ultimately, the bottom line though, at the end of the day, text messages is just one way to get more leads for your business. If you're not doing that and you're not doing live chat, you're shooting yourself in the foot. You're not doing that plus having phone calls, you're shooting yourself in the foot. You want all four. They will all incrementally increase the amount of leads you're getting. With that said, I'll wrap it up with that. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. If you want to see another video, click here. It is one of my best ones.